It's been a long day without you, my friend.
Ah, Carvajal, je t'aime. Nunca te olvides del Madrid.
Te quiero, leyenda.
Where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back for another match day vlog, another farewell match day vlog. Because last year we were at the Luka Modric, Don Carlo Ancelotti farewell ceremony here at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago we were at the Toni Kroos farewell ceremony, and these occasions are always very emotional, and today is the end. Now I'm not talking about the conclusion of the worst ever season in Real Madrid history. No, I'm talking about the end of the most successful era in Real Madrid history, because after today, the Champions League Threepeat winning team that dominated Europe between 2016 and 2018 is officially going to become a memory tonight, because the last remaining member of that team is leaving Real Madrid tonight for good. And I am very sad that Dani Carvajal's career at Real Madrid has to end the way that it's ending right now. Don't get me wrong, I am glad that he's getting a farewell. I am glad that we are going to be paying our respects to him tonight. But when you consider everything that's happened over the last 2 seasons, how poor we've been, the whole shit show that this club has had to deal with, I think it's very sad that this is the way that we have to say goodbye to a legend. So consequently, guys, today we are going to be bringing back fan interviews, because I want to pay my respects to Dani Carvajal. I want to give him a proper send-off. And of course, we are going to be inside the stadium, so I will be showing you the behind-the-scenes footage, the stadium live reactions to the farewell of a legend like Dani Carvajal, one of the greatest right backs of all time. It's going to be an emotional video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure to smash the thumbs up button, go subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit the hype button, guys. The hype button really helps us out in the algorithm, and we are a growing community, so make sure to smash the hype button and help us out as much as possible. And yeah, that means it's gonna be an emotional night. Expect some tears from my end. I'll try to keep my composure as much as possible, but I cannot make any promises. But yeah, guys, it's time to say goodbye to the legend of Dani Carvajal. Let's do this. That means we are here with
Michael,
Emiliano, Diego, Machis, Javier.
That means estamos acá con una verdadera leyenda del madridismo, muy madridista, el Javier acá. ¿Cómo estás, Javier?
Bien, hijo de puta.
Today we say goodbye to a legend. What does Dani Carvajal mean to you?
he means a lot because he's won a lot of Champions Leagues at this club. He's given a lot for us. He means a lot to me.
Es el último que queda de esa generación dorada que tuvimos hace poco tiempo, así que pesa.
Lleva casi 10 años ya. Estoy destruido, la verdad.
If you could describe Dani Carvajal in one word, what would it be?
A leader. He runs up and down the pitch. He's a great attacker, but on defense, he's amazing as well. Dani Carvajal is great at both.
Madridismo. Siento que representa todos los valores del club. Siempre nos defendió con todo.
Historia. Después de algunos, el más grande que ha pasado por Madrid, a nivel títulos, a nivel carrera.
Solide. Il tient la maison, hein. Il défend super bien, et il tient notre maison depuis 15 ans, donc ouais, solide, il a toujours été là.
El Pitbull, como lo describen. Sí, sería un guerrero, porque ha dado todo por España, ha dado todo por el Madrid, y la verdad que ha sido un gran capitán.
If you could think of one moment that defines Dani Carvajal's career at Real Madrid, which one would it be?
That assist to Ronaldo, the bicycle kick.
Je sais pas pourquoi, mais je pense à la décima. Il n'était pas forcément le meilleur acteur, mais j'ai l'impression que depuis là, il a vraiment pris de la grandeur au club, quoi.
Sin duda, la asistencia a Rodrigo para ganar esa Champions tan premiada, tan preciada.
Yo creo el gol de la final contra el Borussia, de cabeza.
Su gol para sellar esa final de Champions, pero vaya, Dani Carvajal nos deja muchos recuerdos, ¿no? A todos los madridistas.
If you could say anything to Dani Carvajal, what would you say to him?
Te quiero, leyenda.
Ah, Carvajal, je t'aime. C'est ma première fois au stade et je suis content de pouvoir venir pour sa dernière à lui, quoi.
Carvajal, no te retires, que todavía te quedan años de fútbol. Ánimo.
Carvajal, nunca te olvides del Madrid. Estamos todos contigo, te queremos.
Querido Dani, a mí me parte el corazón saber que te está haciendo así el Real Madrid. Nunca voy a olvidar cómo le pintaste en la cara a todos los madridistas que no te querían, de cómo revertiste su situación y te convertiste en una de las leyendas más grandes de este club. Y yo nunca olvidaré el pase que le hiciste a Rodrigo en la remontada contra el City, porque en mi vida como madridista ese fue el mejor momento que viví. Pero nunca olvides que esta es tu casa, que nosotros te queremos con todo el corazón, y que al final de todo puede que nosotros tengamos mucha historia por hacer, pero la historia que tú hiciste en este club nunca se va a olvidar, y tú siempre serás uno de nosotros.
Y se retira una de las más grandes leyendas del Real Madrid y del fútbol. serio, muchísimas gracias por todo. Disfrutando 5 años, mucho con vosotros. Seguimos celebrando una leyenda, una persona increíble, nuestro capitán, ¡Dani!
Protagonista también de un momento histórico para nuestro club. Siendo un niño de tan solo 12 años, puso la primera piedra de la ciudad Real Madrid junto a nuestro siempre querido y recordado Alfredo Di Stéfano. Y hoy, leyenda del fútbol mundial.
Lo primero quiero dar las gracias a nuestro presidente, don Florentino. He vivido la cara amarga de este deporte y vosotros habéis sido mi motor. Habéis hecho que mis días tristes se llenaran de luz, que sacase la fuerza suficiente para levantarme una y otra vez. Os quiero mucho. Hoy y siempre a la Madrid.
Alright guys, before I give you my thoughts and takeaways about what took place last night, I have to give you an explanation as to why I didn't add any sort of match footage. Because if I'm being real, the game was pretty entertaining. There was some pretty cool goals, beautiful goals that were scored. I was in pole position to film the first 2 goals of the match. But last night I had my worst ever experience at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu. The people in front of me all kept standing up. Now after the first couple of plays, I wanted to handle it as calmly as possible. I really didn't want to fight with anybody at the stadium. But they botched so much of my filming last night that I was about to lose it, and right before I could even say anything, the people behind me lost their shit. They completely lost their shit. It got into a tiny little brawl. People were throwing things left and right, and I found myself forced to abandon that sector and find a new place to sit, which was pretty hard because the stadium yesterday was packed. I think people wanted to pay their respects for our last remaining member of the Champions League Threepeat winning team. But yeah guys, I'm really sorry for not adding any sort of match footage. I'm very frustrated myself. There was honestly, like I said, the worst experience I've had at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu. Bernabéu. But I guess there was a silver lining to it, the fact that it was a farewell event, so no matter what happened in the game, we had nothing to play for. If there was a day for this to happen, I guess today was a perfect day for it. And to a certain extent, I think it's a little poetic that the last matchday vlog of the season at the Estadio Santiago Bernabéu went down the way that it did. But with that being said, I'd like to give a special shout out to David Alaba, because I do not consider him to be a Real Madrid legend, but I definitely consider him to be a Real Madrid hero. You need to understand that this guy came into Real Madrid to replace what is considered to be the greatest defender of all time. Yes, David Alaba was signed to replace Sergio Ramos. He was even forced by the club to take on his number 4, which was some pretty big shoes to fill, if you ask me. And in his first 2 seasons, I think he absolutely killed it. He was instrumental when we went on to win the 14th Champions League, and he will forever be remembered for his iconic chair celebration during the PSG comeback after Karim Benzema completed his hat-trick. And the truth about David Alaba Real Madrid is, as soon as he tore his ACL, he was never the same. He was basically getting paid one of the highest salaries at the club to be a model for the new kit releases at the beginning of every season. But I am nonetheless thankful for his time at Real Madrid. I think he showed some pretty big balls during his first 2 years at the club, and I think it's pretty obvious that the locker room loves him, people love him. I think David Alaba is a really cool guy. I wish him the best in his new adventure. And if you watched the farewell matchday vlog that I released last year for Don Luka Modric and Don Carlo Ancelotti, then you might remember that I talked about Lucas Vázquez because I felt like people were very unfair with him. I don't think that Lucas Vázquez got the goodbye that he deserved. I think he was one of the most important rotational players that we had in a three-peat winning Champions League team. So for him to leave the way that he did last year was very sad, but if you're expecting me to talk in the same fashion about Dani Ceballos, well, I'm sorry to disappoint, guys. If you've been following me in the channel, you know that I do not rate Ceballos at all. I think he is an Atletico Madrid type of player. He is a Real Betis type of player. He just does not have the level to play for Real Madrid. And there's always going to be that one guy in the comments who roasts me for not rating Ceballos and not praising him for having 4 good months in his 9-year stay at the club. But listen, I don't really have anything against the person. I am pretty convinced that he must have been the leak inside the locker room, the guy that was leaking all the conflicts that were taking place within the Real Madrid facilities. But that's not information that I have, guys. Do not take it as information. That is just my own speculation. Like I said, I'm not really going to get into him. I also don't feel like I have anything else left to say about Dani Carvajal because I already said everything that I needed to say in the fan interview section of the video. So I would like to get straight to the point and get to the 3 takeaways that I have of this 2025-2026 Real Madrid season. The first one, I think, is the most obvious one. I think it's the one that most of you can agree with. I personally think it's very obvious that Vinicius Jr. and Kylian Mbappe just cannot play together. Whenever they're both on the field, I don't think the team has an idea of how they need to play, how they need to structure their tactics. Whenever only one of them plays, it is so obvious that the team plays so much better. Last night, in my opinion, was a perfect example of that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kylian Mbappe had an incredible match because I think that he didn't play that well. I think he had some pretty good moments and some pretty bad moments, but I think it's so obvious that the guy is in his head. I think the criticism is getting to him. Listen, call it what you want. If you want to hop on the boat of the Vini FC delusion game that is being thrown at Kylian Mbappe every single day, I think it's pretty obvious that there is a campaign against Kylian Mbappe, either coming from the inside or there is some PR work being done. Because how is it that Vini Jr. asked for permission to go to Brazil and he doesn't get criticized the same way that Kylian Mbappe got criticized when he went to Italy for a lunch break with his girlfriend? But seriously, just ask yourselves, can you imagine what people would be saying if Kylian Mbappe asked the club for permission to leave early, not show up to his captain's farewell, and just join the national team directly? Like, guys, if you want to be ignorant to the fact that there is clearly a campaign against Kylian Mbappe, then be my guest. But I am personally embarrassed by some of my fellow Madridistas because I don't think you guys realize we are the joke of the sport right now. When it comes to fan bases, other fan bases view us as a joke. Why? Because we waited 7 years. We were obsessed with a player for 7 years, a 7-year-long transfer saga, waiting for Kylian Mbappe just so that when he finally gets here, we can attack him left and right like no player has ever been attacked before. And trust me, if you don't think that people view us as a joke because of the situation, brother, wake the fuck up, because that is our reality right now. I am this close to putting Vini FC fans on the same table as Barca fans because the PR work that is being done is the same that we've been criticizing Barca fans of doing for Messi over the years, for Lamine Yamal over these last 2 seasons. And I am sick and tired of the situation. I just want peace within the fan base. I don't want campaigns against our players, especially when they are so obviously unfair. And I don't think it takes much to realize that the two just don't work well together. I think Vini is going to be the one to leave the club because from the information that I am getting, whatever it is that you're reading out there, I know there's a lot of reports that Mourinho wants Vinny and his team. But from what I'm hearing, Vinny and his camp are very wary of the arrival of Mo at the club. But if we really want to succeed in the future, I think it is time for us to realize that these two are not going to work out together. And speaking of two players that are just never going to get along, and is my second takeaway of the season, is Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler are just never going to work out together as well. Because I think that they both play their best, they both bring out their best qualities whenever they are allowed to roam freely as the number 10. And with the way the relationships are in the locker room right now, I think it's pretty obvious that Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe are beefing. They do not like each other. And based on the interactions that I saw yesterday, I also think it's very clear that Kylian Mbappe and Arda Güler have a pretty solid relationship. And not just off the field, I think on the field, it's been pretty clear this season that Arda Güler is Kylian Mbappe's best partner. So if Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe are going to stay at war with the way everything is trending with Vinicius Jr., I think that Jude Bellingham's days at the club could also be numbered, guys. Which if you've been watching me for a while, you know that Jude Bellingham is my favorite player, and I would be very sad if him and Kylian Mbappe cannot make things up. But with the way that Arda Güler and Kylian Mbappe understand each other, I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now, Jude Bellingham is on his way out of the club and Arda Güler is the undisputed starter at the center attacking mid position of the team. But listen, if things are going to work out next year, I think that the team itself needs a new type of leadership. No, I am not talking about a new president. I personally do not want Florentino to leave, but that's a talk for another video. No, I am not talking about the arrival of Jose Mourinho. I'm not talking about the leadership that comes from the coaches. I'm talking about the leadership that comes from the players within the locker room. There's been a lot of rumors that Bernardo Silva could potentially join Real Madrid, that Rodri could potentially join Real Madrid, especially with Guardiola leaving City, as it is rumored. It seems that their arrival is becoming a real possibility at the club, and if you would have asked me a month ago how I felt about that, I would have told you please no. But we just lost Dani Carvajal. Because Dani Carvajal just left Real Madrid, I think we're going to lack a lot of leadership, and we need a winning mentality type of culture in the locker room from players with experience. And as much as I didn't want Rodri and Bernardo Silva to join, I kind of like the idea of them joining now. So yeah, guys, I wouldn't be mad if they join the club, but it's going to be a long summer. There's going to be a lot to talk about, lots of transfer rumors. There is a World Cup. We are going to be streaming for it throughout the entirety of the tournament. And yeah, that means it was a sad night last night. It was really sad to say goodbye to the last remaining member of our three-peat winning team. But it is what it is, guys. Life goes on. We didn't have a good season, but I really enjoyed quite a lot of moments here sharing it with you guys. So as always, that means I appreciate the support that you showed this season, and I hope to be able to bring you as much content as possible in the near future. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything that is coming up. And as always, that means I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.